Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my day 5 Angular tutorial. So I will let you know that I already uploaded 4 more videos on Angular. Even I uploaded 2 videos on HTML5 and CSS3. Please go through all of them if you want to learn HTML5 or CSS3. And I will suggest, like, before coming to this video, please watch my Angular video up to day 4. So today is our day 5 Angular training session. So today we will learn some important concepts regarding the form in Angular. Along with we will cover how to utilize the dialog box and snack bar of Angular material. So this page, as you are already aware of that if you have seen my previous videos, I have created one product page in which we are displaying a list of products. On click of product, I am getting the detail about that product, consisting of product name as well as the price. Then we have, so in this page I have modified, like I have added one new button, order button. If you on click of this order button, what it will happen, a pop-up window will open. So having the form in which if you click on the confirm button, then your order will be confirmed. So let me show you. I have added some few validation to this form also, like first name is required field. Like if I am not entering anything, I am getting this validation. Even comment is also a required field. Along with that, my form is auto populated, like the select drop down is auto populated with India value. We have other value also, US, China. And for the payment option, COD is auto selected. So this is the radio button, and we have a checkbox in which is also auto check. So if you see our confirm button, the button which is used for submitting the form is not enabled yet. User could not able to click this button because it is not enabled there. It is not enabled because our form validation are not yet done. Our form is not valid. So if our form gets valid, then only this will be enabled. So first of all, let me put some name Anil here. And here if you see, if I will type, as I am typing, then the error is gone. So yeah, here in comment also I have added one more validation, like it will accept only up to 5 characters. If you enter more than 5 characters, we will get an error message. So order is a 5 character word, so we don't have any error message. Even if you see, our form is completely valid. That's why our confirm button is enabled and user can able to click on this confirm button. Let me enter some more characters for the comment. If you open, I am getting an error message, maximum of 500 characters. So actually it should be maximum of 5 characters. So for the display purposes, I have used only maximum validation of 5 characters. Although it is displaying 500 characters, we can just change the error message. Everything will be corrected. Okay, so don't worry about that error message. Okay, so this is how our form works. If we click on the confirm button, our order will be confirmed. So on click of confirm button, you will see our form will get reset and we will get a alert message like order is successfully placed. Just keep an eye on the screen. I am clicking on the confirm button. I am getting order placed successfully alert message. Along with our form is reset. So I have filled my first name and I have filled some value for the comment field. So these two fields are reset, and other fields are by default what it is, like, because we need this form should be like auto populated for the select drop down, for the checkbox, and for the radio button and for the checkbox. That's why these values are still written, and for other first name and comment, this will be resetted on click of the confirm button. And if you see, if we click on this cross button, our pop-up window will be closed. Okay. On click order, we will get the pop-up window. On click of close, it will gone. Okay. In this way, our pop-up window works. So first of all, we will see how we can utilize the dialog box or this pop-up in the Angular material. For utilizing the dialog window of Angular material, what we have to do? We have to go to the Angular material component. We have to select the dialog component. Then if you see in the Angular material how it looks, this is how it looks. This is the dialog window they have created. On click of OK, it gets closed. For this, as you know, for everything in Angular material, we have to import the corresponding module. This is the mat dialog module. And if you have seen my previous video, you know where we have to import in our code, we have to import in the shared module.ts file. Let me close this. I will open the shared module.ts file. So this is my module file in which we are importing the Angular material. Okay, this is the mat dialog module I have imported here. So whatever we have import, as we are already aware of that, we have to put an entry in the import array also. So if I will scroll down in the import array, we will find the mat dialog module along with in the export array also. So if you are aware of, if you have watched my previous video, you can able to understand why we need to do that. So that is how we can use the mat dialog. We can able to import the mat dialog module. Once we have imported the mat dialog module, what we have to do? Go to the overview section. Here, go to the code for its code. So in the HTML, so our main area of concentration is the main area of importance is this one. So we will pick this line. So it's a button. They have used mat raise button, which is also Angular material. So we can find it in the button component. Then we have attached a click handler to the button. Then we have a function for handling the click event. Open dialog. This is the important for that. Okay. So if you see from my UI, this pop-up window is opened from the product detail page. This is the product detail page. So we will go to the product detail page. So I will close the shared module. I will open the HTML page and even the TS page. So in product detail page, if you see, we have a button. I have used an anchor tag. You can use the button also. It's a click event, and I am calling the open dialog function. Same function, same code I have used as it is in the Angular material. Okay. Then what we have to do in the open dialog, this open dialog we have written in its corresponding TS file. In the open dialog method, what it is doing, we are writing this code, this bunch of lines. So this line I have taken from the Angular material. If you go to the open dialog method in the Angular material website, so let me scroll down. This is the open dialog method. I have used the entire code as it is. Okay, just we have to change at one place. So here it is the place where we have to change. We have to provide the component that we want to display in the dialog window. So if you see from the UI, I am displaying a form in this dialog window. This is the form that I am displaying in this dialog window. So this code I have written in checkout component. I have created one component, checkout component. You already know how to create a component if you have seen my previous videos. This is a checkout component. Let me open this HTML page. So if you see, we are using the form in our checkout component. So this is what we are displaying in our dialog window. We have a toolbar in which we have pop-up dialog for payment as the header. This is pop-up dialog for payment along with the cross button. So everything, whatever we are displaying in the dialog window, everything is written in checkout component.html file. That's why in product detail component means the component from which we want to open the dialog window. In that component, we have to provide the name of the component which you want to display in the dialog window. And this is the class name of our checkout component. If you open the checkout component.ts file, this is the class name. This name I am using in product detail.ts file. We can provide the width and height of the dialog window. As for your width and height, your dialog window will be displayed. And we have to provide the display closed as true. Okay, so why it is needed? Like if we remove this line of code, okay, so what you will see, like if I will click anywhere in our website, this dialog box will be closed. But we don't want that. We want only it will be closed on click of a particular button in the dialog window, not anywhere outside the dialog window. So for that purposes, we have to use dialog disable closures true. Okay, so this is the extra thing that I have used, and rest of the code I copy paste from the Angular material. And what is this use of this code? So it is saying after close, then we are subscribing. Means when our dialog window is closed, then if you want to do some business logic after closing our dialog window, we will write it here within this function, within this subscribe function. Okay, this is how our dialog window works, how we can utilize the dialog window in Angular material. Then this is for the parent page, from the page from which we want to open the dialog window. And in the dialog window, if you are seeing, on click of this button, we are closing this dialog window. How we are closing this dialog window? We'll go to the checkout component.ts file. So let me go to the HTML file. So this is the mat icon I have used for the cancel button. So in the cancel button, I have attached on no click event. I will go to the on no click event. In the on no click, I have written only this single line. So it is calling the close function for closing the dialog window, and we have to call on dialog ref. So this is the dialog ref that we have to inject. We have to do dependency injection for dialog ref in the constructor. So we have done public dialog ref, then which is of type mat dialog ref, and mat dialog ref takes, which is of type takes the component. So this is the component of, means this is the name of the same component in which we want to close the window. Okay, so this is what, and mat dialog ref, we have to import the mat dialog ref from @angular/material/dialog. Okay, this import statement. So this is, so I have forgotten one concept, if in the parent page we are opening the dialog by using .open method, there we have used this .dialog. For this one, we have to do dependency injection. We'll go to this constructor. Here find public dialog, which is of type mat dialog. So by using this, we are able to call the open method. So this mat dialog we need to import from same @angular/material/dialog. This is what we have to do in the parent page. I guess everything is clear about how we can open a pop-up window and how we can close a pop-up window of Angular material, how we can utilize the pop-up or dialog window of Angular material. So this is an important thing. So this is related to the Angular material. Next we learn the form in Angular. Before that also we have to learn how we can utilize the form field of Angular material. Okay, so let me go to the Angular material website again. So for the form field, here we have to go. So if you see how the UI looks, so this is the UI for the form field they are utilizing. Okay, so there are input field, select, text area. Okay, so for this, if you go to the code, everything like the input, select, everything is within a mat form field. For the input, we have a mat form field. For the select, we have again a mat form field. Again, for the text area, we have a mat form. Everything is enclosed within a mat form field. So for that, we have to import the mat form field module. Here I am importing. So this is what we have to import, the mat form field module. Okay, where we have to import in the shared module. Then we have to utilize the input field. For input field, we have to, this is the input field. For input field, we have to import the mat input module. Then if you want to use the checkbox on the radio button, then for the checkbox, we have to import mat checkbox module. Okay, all this we have imported in our shared module.ts file. Let me open it for you. So where it is, yeah. So if you see in the shared module.ts file, we have imported form field module, which is a container for the form fields, for the input field. Then we have to import mat input module for the input field. Then the radio module for the radio button, checkbox module for the checkbox, for select module for the select drop down, Then if you want to use the button in the Angular material, we have to use the mat button module. Okay, so snack bar module, we will come to that later. So this is how we can use the form fields of Angular material. So we can use the normal form field also, like the HTML normal form field. So, but we are using Angular material, so we should use that for a better look and feel. Then we'll see how we have to use that field, use that form for our Angular application. We'll see that in a bit. Okay. So for utilizing the form in our Angular application, what we have to do, same thing, we have to use a form tag as we have taught in our HTML5 tutorial. Then this form tag, we have to use no validate to prevent our browser to do validation. We don't want our browser to validate our form. Then we have a form group. Then this form group is a property of a form. This form group have a name, order. So to use this form group, so here we are, see, in Angular there are two kind of form. One is template driven form, another is reactive form. And here we are covering the reactive form concept. Template driven form is the normal form as the HTML5 form with ng model attribute. So here we are learning reactive form, which is the advanced form in Angular. So for using the reactive form, we have to use the form group attribute of form tag. And this form group attribute is available, it will be able to bind it if we have to. For that we have to import reactive form module. So reactive form module, we will import it here. So in our module we have to import the reactive form module. Okay, because we are using the reactive form approach, so that's why we have to use reactive form module. So means the first step should be, we have to import the reactive form module in app.module.ts and we have to enter in the import array. This will be the first step. Second step is we will go to the component in which we need reactive form. We need the reactive form in our checkout component. We'll go to there. We have to use a form tag. Then we have to use no validate to prevent our browser to do default validation. Then we have to use the form group attribute. Then equal to some name. This is any name of your choice. And this name we need to declare in its corresponding CS file. We'll go to the CS file. This is the name order, which is of type form group. This form group we need to import from the @angular/form. Okay, this is the form group. Then we will go to the HTML again. Then this is the syntax for using the Angular material input field. We have to use the mat form field. Then input tag, we have to use mat input. Then we will give some placeholder. In the reactive form, the main thing is we have to give a form control name. For every form element, we have to give a form control name. For select, we have form control name. For the radio button, for checkbox, everything, every element should have a form control name. Its respective form control name, and it should be unique for all the form elements. So I have given for the name field, we have given form control name as name. For the country, we have given form control name as country. And for the radio button, I have given form control name as mode of payment. For the for the comment, for the text area, I have given form control name as comment. Then what we have used for the checkbox, we have given form control name as agreement. So any name of your choice. Whatever the name you have given, you have to initialize in PS file. So in PS file, what we have done, we have written a function create form. Here we have to actually create our form. So in this function, we have to do this dot form name that we have declared. This is an instance of form group. Okay. Then we have to do this dot fb. Fb stands for form builder. So we have to do dependency injected the form builder. So this is form builder that we have to import from @angular/form. Okay. Then we have to use this dot form builder dot group. This is a function. Group is a function taking an argument as an object. In that object, we have to mention the form control name that we have declared in our HTML. So for the name field, we have declared, for the first name field, we have declared the form control name as name. If I will scroll down for the first field, for the first name field, we have declared the form control name as name. So same thing we have to write it here, name colon. Then if you don't want to provide any default value to your form, then you have to put an empty string. If you want to provide a default value, you will write something here, some name here. Then we want a validator like required validation for this name. Whatever the validation you required for the name, you have to put that in a square bracket. We need a required validator, so we have to provide we have to write validator.required, and this validator we have to import from @angular/material. So let me scroll up. This is Angular we have to import the validator from Angular/forms. Okay. So everything related to the form are imported from the package @angular/form import. Okay. Then what else? So then we have country drop down. So if you see from the UI, let me go to the UI. Let me open the pop-up window again. If you see, my country drop down is initialized with India. So that's why for the country I have provided the value as IND. Why it is country? So let me go to my HTML page. So this is the country. My country is a select drop down in which I am constructing the option by iterating through a for loop. This is the for loop. I am iterating through the for loop. And country, I am iterating through the country. Country is an array of object containing the country value as well as country name. So we are getting each object here. Then we are binding country.value to the value attribute, and we are displaying country.name in the option. Okay. So this country what we have declared in our TS file. So if you go, this is the country. It is an array of objects, each object containing name and value property. That's it. So we are creating here select drop down dynamically. Okay. Then if you see for the India, the value is IND. So as we need our select drop down to be initialized to India, so that's why we have to provide IND here. Then mode of payment. So I want cash on delivery should be by default selected. So that's why cash on. So for the mode of payment we have given COD. Why COD? Because if we go to our HTML code, for cash on delivery is a checkbox, is a radio button in which our value is COD in small letters. So in lower case. So this COD we have given here. So if you want to make our Paytm by default checked, so we have to give this value whatever I have given here. For Paytm we have given value as Paytm. So if you want Paytm to be by default selected, we will give Paytm here instead of COD. Okay. Then comment is a text area. I don't want to put any by default anything in the comment. So I have kept that in empty. So I want required validation along with max length validation, and max length should be of 5 characters. If it is exceeding the 5 characters, we are getting an error message. And how we are getting error message, that will come to that later. Then we have agreement, which is a checkbox. If you go to our HTML code, agreement is a checkbox. Okay, having a form control name as agreement. And as the checkbox, if we are providing the true, then it will be selected. If we are providing false, it won't be selected. For by default selection, we are providing the true here. This is how we have to create our form. And the main difference between the template driven form and this reactive form is like most of the code for the reactive form are being done in the TS file. Most of the code means all the validation required, max length, then we have min length validation also, email validation also, validator.email, validator.min length, then pattern validation, validator.pattern. So all kind of validation we have to do in TS file. For template driven form means the normal form, means the basic form, all this validation we have to write in the HTML file. If you want to require validation, then we have to write in the HTML form. Okay. This is the main difference. And next we will see how we have to display the error message to the user for visual feedback, so the user will able to know this is the error and user need to rectify the error in the form. For example, if I am not typing. I mean, now I clicked on the first name. Now it will get focused. Now without typing anything, I am going out of that. Then I am getting the error message as name is required. Same thing for comment. If I will type more than 4 or 5 characters, I am getting one. Let me click somewhere. So I am getting a validation max of 5 characters is required. So in this way, this validation, this error message, how it is being displayed. So for displaying the error message, what we have to do, we will have to go to the HTML page. So if you see, we have added the validation for the name as well as comment field. Okay, we will go to the name field first. So we have to use the mat error, which is a Angular material tag for displaying the error message. It is having class of error. This class error we don't have to write in CSS. It is already being handled in Angular material. Then the main thing is how we can display our error message. So we are displaying the error message on the basis of *ngif. And let me tell you, *ngif is an Angular directive, is a built-in directive, and like it is like for showing, and it is basically used for showing and displaying, for hiding and showing an element. If *ngif is true for an element, then that element will be displayed. If it is false, then that element will be hidden. This is the functionality of *ngif. And *ngif, what we have provided, the form group name, this one, okay, dot get. Then this is the name of our form control name, dot has error required, because we have given the required validation for the form for the name field. Then we have given order dot get name test. It means when these two conditions, this required condition and this test condition, is satisfied, and condition means if both are true, then *ngif is true, and then we are getting the error message name is required. Okay, and it's a required validation, that's why we have used required, has error required. And what is the use of test? We will come to that in a bit. So let me go to the comment field. In the comment field, we have given also the required validation. We have used the *ngif form group name dot get form control name has error required, along with we have to append the test condition. Okay, then what else? You have to provide the appropriate message, any user friendly message. Along with the required validation, we have maximum validation, so we have to write one more mat error tag in which *ngif will be different. *ngif form group name dot get form control name dot has error, same up to the same. Here we are using the required for required validation. Here we are using max length for max length validation. If you want to use min length, we have to use min length. So if you are using min length here, then you have to configure the min length here. Okay. So on the basis of whatever validation you want, you have to put in the hash error. Then same, the next part is same, like we have to use the test. Then we have to provide the appropriate error message. Okay. This is how we can display the error message with visual feedback to the user. I think up to this everything is clear. Next, what we'll see, if you are seeing, so let me type something Anil, then let me rectify it. If you see, when our form gets valid, then our confirm button is getting enabled and user can able to click it. How this is being handled? We'll go to the HTML file. So for the button, I am using this button, having type equal to submit, because it's used for submitting the form. Then we have used disable attribute order form group name dot invalid, means this button will be disabled when our form is in invalid state. If it is in valid state, then our confirm button will be enabled and user will able to click it. This is the use of disabled. Disabled is also one property, like if it is true, then the button will be disabled. If it is false, then button will be enabled. That's it. And we are disabling the button when our form is in invalid state. Okay. Then, as it is a submit button, so on click of the submit button, we need to call a function for submitting our form. So for calling the function, we'll go to our form tag. We have used ng submit is the submit event that is being triggered on click of the submit button. For this event, we have an event handler on submit function. This is any function of your name you can give. So we have to write this, declare this function within the PS file. We'll go to the on submit function. This is the on submit function. So in the on submit function, just concentrate only on this line. In on submit function, we are like logging our form in the console, so that we will see what is being available in our form. So before that, we'll comment this. I'll tell you what is the importance of this. So just concentrate only up to this. The rest of the code we'll see. So we'll go to our code. Why it is not? Oh, it is building. My net is slow. It is taking some time. So let's wait for it to complete 200%, so that our code will be reflected. Updated code. Okay. So it compiles successfully. Our page get refreshed. Okay. So wait for a moment. On click up order, we'll see. Then before that, we'll use inspect element. Inspect element. Okay. It's taking some time. Just wait for it. It is necessary. Okay. So let me clear everything in console. Then I will type my name, whatever name you want. Then in the comment, I will type order. On click of submit, on click of confirm button, just keep an eye on the console window. We'll see what is being consoled, what we are able to see in the console. So in the console, we are seeing this log. So if we'll expand this one, so we are in the code, we are logging the form. Okay. In the console, we are showing the form, what is being available in the form. This dot adder. So if the important thing is this control object, we will come to that. So just keep an eye. Just remember, like control is a key. This is an object having the form control name. So this is the name that we have given in our HTML file for the name field, for the control field, for the mode of payment. These are the control name, and controls is an object. Okay. The next important thing is value field. This value. So if you see in the value field, we are able to see the value that we have entered. So name is Anil, country is IND, India, mode of payment is COD, COD is selected, comment is I have written order, then agreement is true because it is checked. So whatever value we are getting, we will pass this value to our API, and API will do the insertion in the database. Okay. So there are two important things to here is control, which is an object of form control name. These are the form control name, and in this value we will get the value whichever we have entered. So this value will extract and we will send it to the API side. And third important thing is, if you see, that is a property called valid. If we will click on that, it is true. So our form is valid because there is no error in this form. Okay. So as it is a valid, that's why our condition for the disable that we have written in HTML file for the button, that will be failed. This this button will be disabled only on invalid. But our if we go to the invalid property, this is the invalid property. If we click on that, invalid is false. That's why disable is false. So disable false means our button will be enabled. Okay, because our form is in valid state. You can also go through the other property of the form. Okay. Okay, let me close this. So if you see, now what I want is, like on click of confirm, I I have extracted all the values in the form. How we can extract all the values in the form? Just by using this dot form dot value. So we are extracting by using, let me tell you how we can extract. Let me write one more console statement here. We can extract by this dot order dot value. Okay, this dot order value. Let me give it. So let me save it again. Again, it will take some time to compile. In between that, let me open inspect element. So please be with me. Please with me so that we all are in the same page, because reactive form is the advanced concept and we need some more concentration on this. Okay, I guess it is compiled, right? Okay, still 93% of now it is compiled. Our page get refreshed. We are getting our previous page. Okay, so again open the pop-up window, write something so that we can click on the confirm button in the command same order. Just keep an eye in the console, click on the confirm. See, we are getting, by using this order dot value, we are getting this value of our form. This value, this object will send to the API, and API will insert the data of our form into the database. That's it. Okay. So now the requirement is, after the insertion, after our order gets successfully confirmed, we need to reset our form. How we can reset our form? Okay, we'll see that. For resetting our form, what we have done, what we have to do. So in the onSubmit function, so up to this we have covered. Okay, below lines just forget for now, we'll come to that. Next thing is how we can reset our form. For resetting our form, we have to use this dot order dot reset. This dot form group. The order is the form group name or the form name dot reset. Okay, so this will reset our form. So let me, again I have to save it, right? Then I will comment this one. So why I am commenting, we will see in a bit. Then we are commenting this one also. Okay, let me save it. It will be compiled again. Same story repeated. Yeah, it's compiled. It happened so fast. Okay, so we will go to the order component. Let me type same thing and same story. Order. Now on click of confirm, I want my form to be reset. Whatever is chosen or whatever is written, everything should get reset. Click on the confirm. See, everything is getting resetted. Whatever I have written for the first time, whatever being selected for the select, whatever is checked for the mode of payment, everything gets reset. Okay, but now the requirement change. We want to reset our form, but we need to retain the default value for select, for mode of payment, and for the accept. The default value for the select should be India. For mode of payment, COD should be selected, and for accept it should be checked. This one we want to retain, and for the first name and comment we need to reset that. We don't want to retain the value. How we can do that? For that, what we have to do, this dot initialize form. So I have written one form, like one function initialize form function. You can write any name of your convenient. In this we have declared a constant, any constant of your choice, in which this constant is an object having the form control name, country, mode of payment. These are the form control name that we have configured in our HTML. Country is the form control name of which one? For the select drop down. Okay, so if we go to the select drop down, country is the form control name for the select drop down. For mode of payment, form control name is mode of payment. So country should be IND because India should be selected. Mode of payment, COD should be by default selected, that's why COD. For agreement, it should be checked by default, so that's why we have given true. So we have to mention in an object. Then we have to do this dot form group name dot catch value. This is one of the functions that is being available in the form for initializing the form. Okay, this function will take an object in which this object should have the form control name and its respective value for initialization. So what it will do, this patch value will go through this object property. First of all, it will go to the country. It will then go to the HTML. It will see which form control having the form control name as country. It will find him here. So this select drop down will be by default initialized to the IND value, means India value. Same for mode of payment, same for the agreement, it will happen. So cache value is used for initializing our form with some value. Okay, everything is clear up to this, I guess. So let me save it. Okay, we'll see. Open, and then comment, order, click on confirm. So on click of confirm, you will see everything will get reset except this select, radio and accept button, because that one we need to retain. See, first name and comment are reset, and we select radio button and this checkbox is retained. Okay, this is what the requirement. Now if you see, our UI does not look good because we are resetting the form, but we are getting this validation error. So it is like first name in the red color because it's a required validation. We have not put anything here. Then comment is also in red color because we have given the required validation here. So we need to remove this validation also on resetting. After resetting, how we can do? We have to clear the validator. For that, after resetting, we have to clear the validator. I have written one function, remove validator. Okay, we'll go to the remove validator function. This is the remove validator function in which we have, for remove validator function, we have given a parameter of form group. This will be the form group. Then form.control. I have shown earlier in the console, like form.control is an object in which the keys are the form control name. So we are iterating through the object by using the for in loop. So this is the syntax and this is the property of this form.control. This property corresponding to the form control name. Then we have to do form.get then form control name. So it will like iterate through all the form controls. So form control means it will iterate through starting from the name to the radio button, up to the radio button. It will iterate and it will clear the validator for all the form controls. First it will clear the validator for the name field, then for the country field, then for the radio button, then for the checkbox. So it will clear all the validators. So this way, like it is iterating through the for in loop. Once we clear validator, we have to do update value and validity. We have to call the update value and validity. These are the two functions which are being available, predefined function of in the Angular for the form. Okay, we have to clear validator, then we have to call update value and validity, so that form will able to know that the validator which is being like assigned earlier, that is being cleared. Okay, we are updating here after clearing the validator. This way, so we can remove the validator from the form. We'll see how it looks. Let me save it. Okay, again go to the order, same story we have to do. And then comment cmd should be order. Then on click of confirm, everything will be reset, and we are able to see the error messages, means the error first name and comment are in the red color highlighted because we have given the required validation. Now we don't see that. Okay, everything is resetted, we are not getting that red color. So like now it looks everything perfect, our form is perfect. So here we are clearing our validator. Okay, by calling this clear validator on the form control, and then we have to call the update value and validity method. Okay, then so as we are clearing the validator, we need to add the validator also, because the next time if we type, we don't get the error messages. Okay, so for this I will let me comment these two lines. here we are adding the validator actually. Okay. So we'll come to these two lines in a bit. Let me save it. Let me comment it and save it. And go to our page. Order. Click on order. Then story, the mail. Then order. Okay. So if I will click on the confirm, everything is resetted. We are not getting the error message. But now if I want to put a new entry, like now I get focused to the first name. Now without putting anything, I am removing. I am going out of that first, but we are not getting the required validation here because we have removed the validation after resetting. Same for the comment. In comment we have given max length of 5, but here the validation won't work. We can enter more than 5 characters. Okay, so there is no error. We are not getting any error messages. Okay, even if we remove this comment, also we are not getting the required validation for the comment. So because we have cleared all our validators from the form, so we need to add our validator again. So how we can add that? So we can add the validator in two ways. So like when the user for writing anything, user has to click that particular form element so that it will be focused and user can able to enter anything. For writing anything, user have to do key press, means key down event will be called. So there are two events called. One for writing, user has to click, so click event is called. For writing anything, key down event is called. This is happening for the comment also, for all the fields. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to attach this event to our HTML file. So we need the validation for the name and comment. That's why for the name we have two events attached, key down event and click event, having a event handler add validator function. In add validator we are passing the form group name, okay, and along with the form control name, form group and form control name. So this name is corresponding to the form control name because this is for the first name. Okay, this is the form control name. Okay, this is for the first name. Same name we have provided as the second parameter for the add validator function. Okay, this one. Okay, so we are calling the add validator on key down event as well as on the click event. Same for the comment also. If you go for the comment, this is for the comment, key down event, add validator, we have to give the form control name as comment because this is the form control name of comment field. Okay, same we have to do for click event also. Then this add validator will go to our TS file, will go to the add validator. This is the form and this is the control name. Second parameter is control name. Then just comment out, uncomment this two line of code. Okay. What we have written here, form.get control name, whether it is a name control or comment control on the basis of user interaction. Then we have setting the validator for that control, set validator. Then here we are mentioning the validator that we want to set. So we have created a one class level variable validation type. We will go to that. So here is the validation type, which is an object in which I have written the name, form control name as well as comment. For the name we have given required validation. For the comment we have given required as well as max length validation. And this validation type we are calling here. So it means we are like, if the control name is name, let's suppose the control name is name, or let's suppose control name is comment, then it will set the validator for the comment form control. Then it will set then it will go to this variable and it will fetch that whatever being initialized for the comment property for this object. Okay, so the validation type is an object. For the property comment we have initialized required and max length validation. So that will be assigned to comment form control if it is a control name is comment. Same for the name, when the control name is name, then it will go to here, then it will go to that object. For the name we have only required validation. Okay, so required validation will be set for the name form control. Okay, so we can also use, like, instead of using that object, we can directly write here also, like here validator dot required if you want to use required validation. Okay, here also we can write. So validator, I mean spelling is somewhat wrong. I will copy this here. Okay, or the uppercase, this should be in uppercase. Okay, let me paste it. So we can provide the validator in this way also in the array without using any extra object. But the disadvantage is, like, this required validation will be applicable to all the form control, whether it is a name or comment. If we use validator.maxLength, then we have to use validator.maxLength. And we will provide the max length of anything of its choice. Let it be 5 characters. What it will happen, this validation will be like applied to the name as well as the comment form control. But we need, for the name we need a required validation, for the comment we need both required and max length. So how we can achieve? By whatever we have written earlier. So for that I have created an object name validation type, having validation type in an object having property as name and comment, and name is the form control name, having the validation having the value as, for the name the validation is required, for the comment validation is required and max length. Same we are retrieving here on the basis of this control name that we have set. Then once the validity is set, next thing is we need to call the same function update value and validity, so that form will able to know like the validator has been set. In this way we can set the validator. So now if I will save, we'll see. Go to the order, and then go to here order, on click of confirm or there's a reset. So here is like as we have added the validator again. So we are adding the validator when user will click on this form field or this form field. Based on the user click, then that form field will be initialized with the validator. If the first name will be clicked, then first name will be initialized with the validator, corresponding validator. Then comment will be initialized with the corresponding validator. So let me click it. I have not entered anything. I will remove. I am getting required validation. Then if I will type, our validation is gone for the first name. If I will remove, again we are getting required validation. So our validation is now intact. So now the form is again having the validation. Okay. Same with for the comment. Let me click here. For writing anything, you just have to click it so that it will focus. Let me go outside. I am getting the validation, required validation. So let me give some more characters, means character more than 5 characters. I am getting the error message like maximum is 5 characters. Okay. Okay. So this way we can able to give. So let me rectify one thing. Although I am saying max length is 5 character, but it is displaying the 500 character because we have given here. So let me change this to 5 character. Okay, it will be so. So in this way we can initialize our form. Sorry, we can work with our form. We can reset our form. And then after this, first of all, on click of the button, submit button, we need to call the API. API will enter the data in the database. Once the operation in the database success, then we have to call the reset function to reset our form. Okay. So after calling the reset function, then we have to remove the validator. Otherwise, our form will be displayed in red color, highlighted in red color. Then we have to, if you want to retain the default value of the form, then we have to call this initialize form property, in which we have calling the patch value method. Okay. So now our like on click of submit button, our form is get resetted and initialized with the default value. Then we need to add the validator again. For adding the validator, we have this line of code. We have to use set validator, then we have to use update value and validity. And add validator we called on key down and click event of the form element in which you want to add the validator. Okay, this is the way we can play with the reactive form. So a small concept left, let me cover that too also, that is related to Angular material. If you see, on click of confirm button, we are getting an alert window here, means an alert box like order is placed successfully for 2 seconds, like the duration for this alert is 2 seconds because we have configured the 2-second duration. This is the alert. On click of close also it will close. Okay, this is the alert window. Okay, order placed successfully. Okay, so this is what we have. Okay, so how this is being displayed? We'll go to the TS file, add validate, on submit we are using this, so we have left with this code. So on submit, what it is doing, we have a message, we have a variable as message in which we have given the hard coded message, then action is closed, then we are using a snack bar. This we have to injected dependency by using dependency injection. So snack bar is a property of math snack bar. Then we have to import from the Angular material. That's it. So as we are using the snack bar, same module we need to import in shared module.ts file. Okay. So let me open this shared module.ts file. This is the math snack bar module which we have to import in the import array. If you go to an Angular material, same code you will find. In the Angular material also will find the same code which is loading. Okay, it's come. So we'll go to the snack bar component. Let me, where it is, man, yeah, this one. So we'll go to the API section. This one we have to import this module. Then we'll go to the how it looks on click of this button. This is the snack bar that we are getting. This is the button. So for that the code is very one line of code. On click of button we have to show. So on click of button there is a function in which we are passing the message that we want to show and the action, close action or whatever it might be. Then we will go to this function, open snack bar function. In open snack bar function we are calling this.snackbar.open. We are providing message as well as action, and duration is 2000 millisecond or 2 seconds. So same thing we have written here. On submit, once our form is get submitted, we are calling snackbar.open. We are passing the message that we have hard coded here. And action is closed, then duration is for 2 seconds. That's why we are getting that alert window like your order is placed successfully. So in this way we can utilize the snack bar. So up to this I covered everything for today's session. So to summarize, today we have covered reactive form validation. Then we covered the dialog window in Angular material along with snack bar for displaying the alert message to the user. So thanks for watching. I will meet again in my next video with some new concept. Please like my video, share my video, and provide a comment so that it will be helpful for me to improvise my next video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.